Yo guys, what's going on? It's Psycho from Psycho Sibs Gaming, and today we will be going over all of the weekly character challenges for all 4 characters in the month of July. So first we'll go through what all of the challenges are, and then we'll break down some of the harder challenges to help you guys get them all completed. So if there is a specific challenge that we do not cover in depth in this video, then make sure to either drop a comment below or join the Discord and ask our community members there. They are super helpful and friendly and are sure to help you solve any problem you have. But anyways, let's get this video rolling. Grab your lawn chair, sit back, relax, because you're watching Psycho Sibs Gaming. Alright guys, so we are going to start this video off with Acorns challenges because they are by far the hardest ones to complete this month. So the first one is obviously 5,000 XP, that's no big deal. Now the next one is heal friendly oaks 30 times. What this means is you have to actually find an oak on your team, then link up with the oak as Acorn, and use your heal ability that you only get once you're linked up with an oak. You have to use the ability 30 times to complete this challenge. This is one we're going to go over later. The next one is deal damage with your primary weapon. That's pretty straightforward. Just deal damage. The next one is vanquish enemies with the sap traps. This works for either Acorns or Oak's sap trap. Either one will count towards the challenge, and you need to vanquish 100 enemies with these. And finally, you have to land hits on multiple enemies with 1 roll for damage. This is the log special ability from Oak. And what this means is you don't have to hit 35 enemies at once. You simply have to use the roll for damage ability and hit more than 1 enemy. So let's say you roll it and it hits 2 enemies. That will count towards 1 tick towards your 35 to complete the challenge. Alright, now moving on to Chompers challenge. His first one is snare enemies with spikeweed. You need to basically capture 30 enemies with the spikeweed ability. I don't believe you have to kill them, you just have to capture them. So it's pretty straightforward, although we might go over it a little later. The next one is eat enemy heroes and survive. You need to eat 30 of them. This would be using the burrow, going underground, popping up, and eating an enemy hero. Now, an enemy hero would be an enemy such as a foot soldier or super brains or something like that. However, I have heard that this possibly could work with normal small AI enemies. I cannot confirm that because I have not done Chompers challenges, but just keep that in mind. The next one is land hits with the Chomp. That's just his primary weapon, Chomp, so that's not too hard. Next one is immobilize enemies with Grotty Goop, so that's just using his special ability on enemies, and you have to affect 30 enemies with that. And of course, finally, earn 5,000 XP with Chomper. So moving on to Imps challenges, the first one, deal damage with the Imp Blasters, just shoot people, that's how the game works. That one should be very easy to complete. The next one, vanquish multiple enemies in 1 explosive escape, and you have to do this 10 times. So this is the big explosion after you exit a mech, and much like the roll for damage challenge, you don't have to kill 10 enemies at once, you have to kill more than 1 enemy and do it 10 times. So at a minimum, you're going to need to use the explosive escape 10 times, which means this one is definitely going to be best completed in PvE, like most of these challenges anyways. Next up, we have land hits on an enemy while in the gravity grenade. So this is pretty simple, just throw down that gravity grenade, it'll suck up the enemies, and you have to shoot them while they are in it. I believe that the Imkata would work in this, although someone may need to confirm. Speaking of Imkata, the next challenge is vanquish enemies with the Imkata. You need to vanquish 50 enemies with that. That should be pretty straightforward and simple. Just use the special ability and take out the enemies. And finally, of course, earn 5,000 XP with Imp. So finally, we have the Space Cadet challenges, and just like Acorn, this applies to both Space Cadet and the Space Station. So, first challenge we have here is vanquish multiple enemies in 1 crater maker, just like roll for damage, and just like the explosive escape. You don't have to vanquish 30 enemies at once, you just have to vanquish more than 1 enemy with the crater maker 30 times. This is the big laser beam on the space station. Next up, we have deal damage with Space Force active, so that's the Space Force special ability on the space station. You just have to turn that on, and then deal damage while it's running. Next one is land hits with the Big Bang Beam. This is Space Cadet's laser beam ability, and you just need to hit 30 enemies with that. Next up, earn 5,000 XP with Space Cadet. That one's pretty straightforward. And finally, vanquish enemies with the Gravity Smash. So you just have to use Space Cadet's Gravity Smash ability and smash down on 50 enemies in total. So now let's go over some of the more difficult challenges and how to complete them. We're going to be starting this section off with Acorn, and we are going to be doing the Heal Friendly Oaks 30 times challenge. First thing you're going to want to do is go ahead to Mount Steep, set it on casual, and load in the area. Now the reason this challenge is somewhat difficult is because I like to do all of my challenges in PvE, and there are some people without online multiplayer, so there aren't a lot of opportunities to get into a AI oak while in PvE roam regions. However, I do know of one. So what you do is once you spawn into Mount Steep, go ahead and talk to this little pea shooter over here and get the Will You Be My Posse quest. Now, you guys are really familiar with this one probably. I use it in quite a lot of videos. So, naturally, make your way through the quest progression, do the target shooting, do the pie eating until you have to come to the point where you choose your posse. Once you get to this spot, go ahead and select the Oak as one of your posse members, and then you can always just select two of the random weeds to join you as well. The next step is to actually hop on top of your little AI Oak buddy here. Now I messed this up at first, I forgot what button to press because it will not prompt you to link up with them, but I believe on Xbox it's just the use button X, and you should be able to hop up on top of your little AI Oak here. Now obviously at this point in the game there's no enemies around and the AI doesn't really seem to know how to function when you're on top of its head, because right now the AI Oak is actually tracking you. So when you're sitting on top of its head, it just spins around in a circle. And this is perfect for us because we can just sit here and heal the Oak over and over and over again. There's no limit to how many times we can heal him, so we'll just sit here and press the heal button every time it refreshes until we get those 30 heals and complete the challenge. Also, another fun little tip is if you continue this quest further, you'll run into a bunch of small AI enemies, and this is a great opportunity to get those Sap Trap vanquishes. Now, the Sap Trap vanquishes can actually be fairly difficult because the Sap Trap isn't super effective at killing enemies anymore. It does a lot of knockback damage, but the actual range for dealing damage to enemies is very small, and you pretty much gotta stick your Sap Trap to them. So what I would recommend is you can go into this area, kill a bunch of these small little enemies with the Sap Trap. Once you run out of enemies, you can always jump off a cliff and refresh the quest to go again. Moving on from Acorn, in my opinion, the hardest chomper challenge is to capture 30 enemies with the Spikeweed. What I would recommend doing is just doing this in Giddy Park. So go to the Giddy Park with AI included. Then run over to the TV head spawn area, and what you want to do is watch for the TV heads to get launched out of the zombie base. You just watch really carefully. Here comes one now. Once it gets launched, then bite him where he lands and place down one of the Spikeweeds exactly where the TV head landed. This is a good indicator of when more TV heads come flying over the top. As you can see there, he just flew in, landed on the Spikeweed, got captured, and died, and this will advance our challenge. So just go ahead and do this multiple times. Figure out where the TV heads land when they first get launched in. Place a Spikewood on the ground where they will land, and this will easily complete your 30 capture challenge. So now both the Imp and the Space Cadets weekly challenges are actually pretty straightforward and easy to complete. What I would recommend doing is just hopping into a PvE environment. You can either do this in Ops, or what I'm doing right now is Skirmishes. If you want to know more about Skirmishes, make sure to check out one of my latest videos. I will put a link to that one in the description. But anyways, it's fairly simple and straightforward to complete these challenges. Just hop into an environment where there are lots of enemies all around and make sure to use your special abilities whenever they're refreshed. Both of these characters' challenges revolve around heavy special ability use, so running upgrades such as Critical Blow or Combo will be extremely useful in order to get these done quickly and efficiently. For Imp in particular, I would recommend throwing your gravity grenade at a group of enemies. Then once they're caught in their grenade, use the Imp Kata to deal lots of hits to them while they're in that bubble, and also advance your Imp Kata challenge. As far as the mech goes, there are no mech related challenges besides the explosive escape, which means whenever you get your mech refreshed, you should immediately activate the mech and then find a group of enemies and use the explosive escape and leave the mech right away. There's really no point in being in the mech for a long period of time because majority of the Imps challenges revolve around the Imp special abilities, not the mech special abilities. And as far as Space Cadet goes, it's very similar to the Imp. A lot of these challenges revolve around heavy special ability usage. With that being said, however, Space Cadet's challenges really fluctuate between Space Station and Space Cadet, so make sure you're spending decent time in both. And as always, be constantly checking your challenge page to make sure that what you're doing is correct and you're actually advancing those challenges. Like I said previously, if you do have any problems with any of these challenges, because I obviously didn't cover every single one in depth, make sure to drop a comment below or join our Discord. Link will be in the description. And with that all being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. That's going to wrap up today's challenge guide video. I hope you get lots and lots of prize bulbs and unlock that Brainium Basher really quick. As soon as I unlock the Brainium Basher, I will be making a guide / review on it, just as I did with Steam Blaster, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time. Game on, gamers.